Coming up on Prime, relatives of dead persons at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital morgue moving their bodies as non-functioning refrigerators at the morgue causes bodies to decompose.
Only about 2 quarters now, the refrigerators have not been serviced. This is creating a lot of inconvenience for the hospital.
We'll also hear from the Mortuary Workers Association. Also coming up, minority takes on the education minister over its indecision to close down the colleges of education. A strike by 8 teachers enters day 64. But the sector ministry urges restraint in the face of calls for the closure of the colleges as it insists it's working tirelessly to resolve the impasse.
We are appealing. We will continue to appeal to SEDAP members to come back to the classroom and offer their services.
5,000 houses along Keta's coast are projected to be swallowed by the ravaging sea within the next 5 years if immediate actions are not taken to protect the fast eroding coastline.
This is my house, but the sea spoil them. Spoil my canoe, my everything, my 3 bedrooms, everything spoiled. But right now I sleep for outside.
Now, the Minority in Parliament's Education Committee is criticizing the Minister of Education for its indecision in closing down the colleges of education. Now, students at various colleges have begun leaving for their homes as the strike by college teachers enters its 64th day with no resolution in sight. Last week, the Teacher Trainees Association called on the principals of the colleges to close down the schools with barely 3 weeks left for the academic calendar to end. The students say they have almost given up hope of their teachers returning to the classroom anytime soon. We'll hear from the Deputy Education Minister on his appeal to CTAG. But first, here's what my colleague Kenneth Jesse found when he visited the Accra College of Education.
After more than 60 days since CTAG members embarked on a strike to demand better working conditions, students at the colleges of education across the country want the schools to shut down completely. Here at the Accra College of Education, students in levels 100, 200 and 300 says it is about time the schools shut down because they have wasted productive days on campus with no teaching or learning.
Well, we are around because we hope that the lecturers will come back, but then if at this point they haven't returned, then I think we would want to go. Well, our parents mostly believe that when we're on campus, we study, so they actually put in efforts to help us sustain ourselves on campus.
Well, we've been on campus for a couple of months now, and then there are no lectures going on. It's quite unbearable. Though we do personal studies, but you know, it is better with the lecturer taking you through what exactly he wants you to attain for the semester than you doing your personal studies, and then by the end, you wouldn't have attained what you are supposed to. So it is better the lecturers are around than we are on campus, but if they are not coming, then I think it's better we go home.
Whatever the teacher says, it gets to my head and sticks. But because there's strike, there's nothing like that. Our provisions are getting finished. Sometimes dining is not even enough for us. We have to go get food and other stuffs. So it's best if they shut down the school so everyone can go home.
But not all the students want it to be shut down.
Personally, I don't like the idea because I'm 11,400 and then the academic calendar was slated to have ended in September 7th, of which we prepared for that. So now going home and coming back means the plans we've had earlier, we have to reconsider it. So personally, I don't want the school to shut down. We want our teachers back.
From the Accra College of Education, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Here is Deputy Minister of Education John Ntim Forjo calling for restraint in the wake of calls for closure. He is appealing to the teachers to return to the classroom while negotiations continue with the government.
Appealing. We will continue to appeal to SEDAP members to come back to the classroom and offer their services. Their services are most essential. So we appeal with them. The ones we engage in them, they must return. We have further engaged Prinkov, and they have indicated their commitment to ensuring that any distortions that may have occasioned in the academic calendar, they would partner us, and we're going to together find a way to straighten things up.
Now, this evening, if you have defaulted on your student loan payment, then be aware that this may have significant consequences for future credit worthiness. The Student Loan Trust Fund has synchronized its data with the Credit Reference Bureau, which will impact individual credit ratings. As a result, defaulters may face challenges accessing financial facilities in the future due to the compromised credit score. Rosemary Aye, head of repayment and resource mobilization at the Student Loan Trust Fund, is therefore urging defaulters to pay their loans to redeem their credibility.
We do not want students to think that by publishing or sending their names to Credit Reference Bureau, it is a disadvantage. Not necessarily. The Credit Reference Bureau also enables you to build good credit. The fund, student loan itself, is an opportunity for you to access loan and become credit worthy. It is not every institution that gives loan without collateral. But with a student loan, you get a loan without collateral. So it is actually a plus to take a student loan and to pay your loan regularly so that you have a good credit score that will translate into, if you want to access a bank loan, a car loan, a mortgage facility, then you already have established a good credit score for yourself. So the Credit Reference Bureau in itself is not a disadvantage at all. But for those who refuse to pay, then the Credit Reference Bureau will come to bite them.
Now, employers have also been urged to comply with the legal obligations of ensuring that the employees who are beneficiaries repay their loans or risk legal action.
And as we speak, we actually have some employers that we have moved up the notch with their non-compliance. We have very flexible engagement.
If you say you've moved up the notch, what exactly do you mean? Are you legally taking them on? Are they in court for prosecution? What exactly do you mean?
Yes, we've moved up the notch because, yes, after all the engagement and interactions where they fail to comply, then we bring in the police, which is part of the legal compliance process.
Joining me via phone on this development is Labour expert Austin Game. Grateful for joining us. Now, may we know your perspective on this issue?
Our young students are being assisted in many ways, including granting them loan without collateral, which is good. Now they've completed school, let's assume so, and they wanted them to pay back because they've secured jobs. I think that the area of concern to me is about trying to fish out employers who have not complied with the directive of deducting such monies and paying back to the authorities. It's all fine, but I think that in this age and time, the best approach is a collaborative approach, and not forcing an employer who has been forced originally without their input to sort of be the conduit to deter these monies. Administratively, it's cost to them and pay it to the authorities. It's all fine. It's national service. But I think that what they should do is to look out to two specific institutions. One, the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, which is a legal body in the country. They are located at the shadow area. They should go and see the CEO and let them discuss and see how best they can talk to their HR fraternity to assist them do that in a more humane way and not a coercive approach. Also, they can liaise with the Ghana Employees Association together with the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners to enable them to assist them carry out this national assignment. But I think that it should not be a coercive approach wanting to send people to the law courts and so on and so on. That is yesterday. I think we shouldn't be.
But what do you make of the attempt to link this to credit worthiness, such that if you're a beneficiary and you don't pay, it affects your future borrowings?
Look, this is a major issue even in the U.S. today. As of today, they are trying to pass law to see how they can free them from some of the payments. Look, our economy is in shambles. Everybody is already owing something, even the children unborn. So definitely our earnings are not enough. Some sort of deductions when they are taken out, at the end of the day, you are supposed to be left with at least some 40% to enable you to manage your life. So, and the people we are talking about are part and parcel of the society.
Okay.
We know what our macro is. So I think that it's important that we take steps gingerly and not hide behind this business. I appreciate the dynamics of what they want to do, but this business of credit worthiness in Ghana and our current situation, I'm just telling you that even in America today, they are trying to find ways and means of shepherding the people off this kind of loan and free them to enable them, exist. Okay. It's tough everywhere. So they should not go into the extreme situation when our own national, credit worthiness as a nation is in jeopardy.
Mr. Guy, I'm grateful to you for your time here. Now, away from that, relatives have been forced to transfer bodies of their deceased loved ones elsewhere due to ongoing voltage fluctuations affecting the refrigerators at Kolebu Hospital's mortuary. Despite the growing concerns, hospital management is yet to issue a response. Our reporter, Semefa Pesu, visited the mortuary, and here's what she found.
Information we've gathered is that for about 3 weeks now, the voltage supply to the refrigerators at the mortuary has been inconsistent due to the increased power consumption in the area. This fluctuation has caused issues with the compressors that are used to preserve the dead bodies. Additionally, technicians responsible for the maintenance on these refrigerators have not been paid for about 6 months now, so they have withdrawn their services. Although the manager of the mortuary has refused to speak on the record, he confirmed that they have issues with their refrigerators and also the place is congested. He, however, added that they have sent information to the hospital's management that they need to work on the situation. We have been speaking to some of the relatives who have dead bodies here, and they have confirmed that they have to do transfer of their relatives to other mortuaries within the municipality.
For barely about 2 quarters now, the refrigerators have not been serviced, and this is creating a lot of inconvenience for the hospital. I personally had a body there of an auntie, and realizing the current situation, we had to transfer the body from the place to a different mortuary. Intelligence further revealed that Nesta, the company responsible for the maintenance of the refrigerator, has not been paid for 2 quarters. So this has been the challenge, and putting the smooth running of the mortuary into a little bit of a challenge.
Afina omoye 1-2 mo papers na dia ye wa twen ma ye twen se bibia be go through ye do twen mo dia batu ye
more problem with my machine and I be a higher congested and
oh that be so far the me ba ha no pe dia me ntisi obi a kasa asem no na me so me nya weka o ha just me ho a me be pia ha ndana pe
Reporting for Joy News, I am Semefa Pesu, Kolebu Mortuary.
Meanwhile, the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana says the situation must be treated as a public health issue that could lead to an epidemic. Richard Kofi Jordan is the General Secretary of the association.
I think it should be a national disaster. It should be a national security issue. There's likely outbreak of an epidemic, which I cannot tell how it will go, but I'm sure that anything that is not good for the workers is not good for the public. You know, we work with the public. People come there to take their dead bodies and they sent alone, the decomposition. We don't know what kind of disease will spread. So it's a public health issue, which has a long potential of creating another pandemic for the country. This situation did not start 3 weeks ago. It's been like this for so many years. And I'm happy that at least you are realizing that the mortuary is in the bad shape.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please to stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor has dismissed allegations of state capture by government officials and described same as misinformation. The minister has also outlined measures being instituted by government to protect public lands. He said this when he took his stand at the Meet the Press session Wednesday morning.
Today, unlike most of our compatriots on the continent, lands in our country are largely owned by these two kings, clans, and families. Over the years, however, governments have acquired some of these lands either by purchase, lease, gift, compulsory acquisition, vesting, or through some other modes. These are the lands referred to as the public lands of Ghana, which government has direct control over. Just as governments have been acquiring lands since the inception of our republic, every government, without exception, has granted some of these public lands to private entities for various developmental purposes. Unfortunately, some people have packaged some of these lands, which were granted to private developers decades ago, and presented them as evidence of what they have termed, quote, state capture, end quote. The ministry has had to issue press statements to correct some of these misinformations.
Now, contrary to claims by critics about the sale of part of the Achimota forest, Samuel Abu-Jinapor says his ministry has rather intervened to protect the forest.
Set up a team. We went into negotiations with Achimota forest because we were concerned about the ecological integrity of the forest, and we wanted a buffer. We wanted a buffer between what the Achimota forest, the Owu family will have, and what will now constitute today's Achimota forest. And we were able to negotiate a reduction of 100 acres out of the 362 acres which had been cast in iron by previous governments. And the current administration had been bound legally by previous governments for the release of 362 acres of the Achimota forest.
Now, away from that, the Ghana School of Law has been referred to the Attorney General for prosecution breaches. The school was cited by the Auditor General for breaching the Procurement Act in the purchase of items worth over 300,000 cedis between 2021 and 2022. First, listen to the school's justification for going ahead with the procurement process without recourse to law. James Aveji has more.
According to the Auditor General's report, the Ghana School of Law engaged 17 different entities through sole sourcing to procure stationeries and hotel services between 2021 and 2022. The total value of the transaction was 327,000 Ghana cedis. This, according to the AG's report, breached the Procurement Act. Here is the GSL's explanation.
As I explained earlier, there were some transactions. In fact, the PPLO value form are also a twofold. There are some you can use less than 5,000 and another one less than 10,000. So yes, please. The other ones are the hotel accommodation issue, which I explained. The reason behind the choice of that particular hotel accommodation. Director General of the Ghana School of Law, Yao Opong, admitted to the breaches but assured that the school has stopped such procurement breaches.
We couldn't at the time.
So you are at fault. You have flouted the law.
Yes, we will admit.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
You admit because you have flouted the law and you have admitted, so we'll recommend you for prosecution.
Well, to err is human.
But chairman of the committee insisted that the school must be prosecuted.
Maximum 2,500 penalty units, maximum 5 years or to both. That is what the judge will apply. The judge will look at you and say, well, go home free, or pay only 1,000 penalty units, or go and sit and sound for 6 months. They will determine that. We will not do that. We have never done that.
Right, we stand corrected.
Yes. So we'll recommend you. Judge, clerk, take note. Okay.
Speaking to journalists after appearing before the Public Accounts Committee, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Agyeman, said preparations are underway for this year's Beyond the Return. He said they are targeting some $3.8 billion as revenue.
Currently, we are looking at the spend per person. It's around $2,930. So we multiply that by the number of people. But aside that, you also have airport taxes that goes to the state. You also have things like other expenditures that people do. So in all, if you multiply it by that, it's about 3.8 billion that we anticipate to come into the country.
The Ministry of Employment and other agencies will appear before the committee on Thursday. James Abeji, Parliament House, Accra.
Away from that, Keta, an ancient city, faces an environmental crisis. About 5,000 homes along its coast could be lost to the sea within 5 years if urgent actions are not taken to protect the rapidly eroding shoreline. While Ghana's coastline is expected to see a significant sea level rise of up to 1 meter by 2000, environmentalists highlight that Keta's coast is eroding at an African leading rate of 2.2 meters per year due to climate change. In part one of our climate-focused series on Vanishing Shores, Carlos Caloni highlights the devastating impact of the rising sea levels on the lives and livelihoods of Keta residents.
A 2017 World Bank's report enhancing resilience to climate and ecosystem changes in semi-arid Africa highlights that coastal dwellers in Ghana face significant threats from the rising sea levels, projected to increase by 0.3 to 1 meter by 2100. This will lead to increased flooding and coastal erosion, which will jeopardize homes, infrastructure, and livelihoods, particularly in fishing communities where over 2 million people are at risk. Keta is no exception. In 2021, the National Disaster Management Organization reported that 200+ homes were destroyed by these high tides in the Keta municipality alone, which rendered about 4,000 residents displaced.
We have a lot of the house here, sea come to spoil, and the summer house too, the sea come to spoil. They have a lot of about 150 houses. We go on the sea inside.
This is my house, but the sea spoil them. Spoil my canoe, my everything, my 3 bedrooms, everything spoiled. But right now I sleep for outside.
The municipal NADMO director, God knows, Blebu, tells me 2/3 of the main Keta town now has already been swallowed by the sea.
239 houses for now are affected. Some are partially collapsed, some are entirely gone. If nothing is being done, I'm afraid about 4,000 or 5,000 houses along the coast here will be gone. In a matter of 5 years to come, all those houses will be gone.
Here is Michael Bumegbe, the chief fisherman of the Keji Copper community. He describes the recurring tidal waves' impact on fishing as disastrous.
2021, In 2021, tidal waves destroyed many things, including 16 boats, fishing gears, and outboard motors. A boat this size cost about 200,000 cedis. This situation is negatively impacting our fishing business.
The devastating impact of the rising levels of the sea is biting hard on residents here in Keta. Reporting from Keta in the Volta region, my name is Carlos Caloni.
Well, there was pandemonium and confusion at Pina Senior High School in the Lambusia district of the Upper West region when the entire roof of the school's dining hall kissed the ground. Though there was not teacher or student inside the multipurpose dining, those close to the facility, upon hearing the sound of the destruction, took to their heels for safety. The collapse of the dining hall, which is the nerve center of all activities at the school, has forced the students to compete with animals for the food in the open. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that authorities and students are appealing to the government and benevolent organizations to come to their aid.
Multi-purpose dining hall Pina Senior High School project awarded to 3 different contractors in over a decade. Finally completed and handed over to school authorities 4 years ago, but its completion was poor. The structural integrity was also doubtful. It has now collapsed. Eyewitness dining hall master Baguro D. Francis further explained.
On Friday 9th August 2024, around between 1 and 2 o'clock p.m., I got to a point, within that period, we were hearing some sounds at the dining hall before I realized that the thing caved in.
The entire roof and ceiling on the ground. Students and teachers ran for their lives. The signs of the disaster were clearly written on the walls, according to headmaster of the school, Alaji Adam Sisaku.
I evacuated my students from the hall for almost a month. Well, there were a lot of cracks in the walls, and we saw that the ceiling and the fans were coming closer down to the floor. So there's nothing we could do that management have to advise themselves to ask the dear students to vacate. And we pack all our furniture out and find a different location as a whole. Now, the location we have found is not anything conducive. My children are eating outside, and most of the time they are struggling with ghosts to eat the food, which is not good for their own health.
The collapse of the dining hall poses greater challenge for the school. It is the nerve center of activities for the school.
That's why we carry all our academic programs. Week exams is one of the problems that we are going to face this academic year. So we are calling on authorities, the politicians around. When this thing happened, I have duly informed the board chairman, I've informed the PTA, I informed the DC and the MP of the constituency. So it's a plea that they should come to our aid. This is something that we need urgently for the academic progress of the school.
The students now eat in the open, competing with animals for the food. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Pina.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, the Ghanaian officials have told foreign ministers from 6 European countries they are concerned about how to access the economic assistance, especially through development financing, to unlock the potentials of the entrepreneurial youthful population. As part of their official state visit to Ghana, foreign ministers from Northern Europe's Nordic countries held a roundtable with young entrepreneurs and innovators at the Design and Technology Institute in Accra to gain insight into areas where Ghana and Nordic states could collaborate for mutual growth and benefit. Blessed Soga was there in our reports.
6 foreign ministers from Europe's Nordic countries are paying an official visit to Ghana this week. The aim of this foreign mission is to foster meaningful collaborations for mutual growth and development. Given Ghana's challenge of youth unemployment, the delegation spent time with young innovators at the Design and Technology Institute in Accra to gain insight into possible ways of unlocking economic growth through innovation and entrepreneurship.
I started my journey 25 years ago, but I pretty much walked the journey not having anyone to handhold me through the entrepreneurship journey. As a result of that, when I founded DTI 5 years ago, I wanted to set up a school that would foster entrepreneurship and creativity, because I know what the potential of Africa has and how to create environments that will make young people thrive.
Reacting to the unique experience of young entrepreneurs, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Sweden, Tobias Billström, revealed that access to development finance dominated discussions with Ghanaian authorities.
And this is the good thing about doing this trip to Ghana, but you get the feeling that things are changing and changing very rapidly. I would actually side with my Norwegian colleague on the question of credits, because even with the discussions with your political leaders here in Ghana, the question of trade, investment, credits and capitals are very prominent. And I think that this is the real thing about the connection between Europe and Africa, and in this case the Nordics and Ghana, that we need to discuss. How can we make a good functioning partnership?
We know how important it is to create jobs for young people on this continent and in this country. There are big cohorts of young people entering the labor market. We sometimes talk about creating jobs for young people, but this is about young people creating jobs.
In the coming years, the Nordic states say they hope to increase cooperation with Ghanaian agencies such as the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program in order to boost local investment and to empower the youth for economic development. Blaise Ogun's report for Joy News, Accra.
Now, civil society organizations in the WASH sector have vowed to hold all political parties accountable, demanding that WASH policies become integral to their manifestos. They are pushing for the creation of a National Sanitation Authority and urging the Ministry of Local Government to take over WASH responsibilities. Meanwhile, political parties are promising to prioritize WASH. Here's a wrap of Joy News' national dialogue on WASH and climate change.
Sanitation and hygiene are critical in Ghana, especially as climate change worsens water scarcity, flooding, and sanitation issues. According to the World Bank, over 20% of Ghanaians lack access to clean drinking water, and more than 15% lack proper sanitation facilities. In the Greater Accra region, significant progress has been made in this sector. Project Coordinator for the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation and Water Project, Engineer George Esiedu, explained.
As at now, as he said, we are hovering around, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, 25% of improved sanitation in Ghana from the 15% that we used to know from 2015.
Matthias Madsen, representing the Embassy of Denmark, says these gains may not be enough to attain the Sustainable Development Goal 6.
We need the private sector to be engaged in some of the aspects, because even though progress has been made, the data is saying that the SDG 6 in 2030 is still out of reach. So we need to accelerate.
However, WASH specialist with UNICEF, Samuel Amwaku-Mensah, believes we need to accelerate the process towards universal and sustainable WASH development.
It is therefore important that we look to maintain an institutional arrangement that can continue to drive progress in this area.
The progress made in these areas is threatened by climate change, underscoring the need for resilient systems and adaptive strategies to protect public health and promote sustainable development. With the general elections fast approaching, civil society organizations in the WASH sector have vowed to push political parties to prioritize sanitation, hygiene and water issues. Professor Basilia is the Executive Secretary of CONUAS.
For last year, didn't show our ministry spending much on climate or the budgeting for it clearly. But with the new innovations coming and the focal person for it, it's hopeful that we're really planning in budgeting for climate.
At the dialogue, some political parties presented their vision for the wash sector. The NPP, represented by the former chief executive of the Environmental Protection Agency, Engineer Kwabena Kokofu, says they are looking to increase funding to the wash sector to push their gains.
Ghana loses $290 million annually. That is $12 per person per year, representing 1.6% of GDP. So if you're able to improve upon sanitation, you're going to save most of this amount or these monies.
The NDC says they will make sure to complete all outstanding projects and increase rural access to wash facilities. Dr. Peter Otukono represented them.
And when we assumed power in 2009, the total urban water supply coverage was around 56.5%. And we have had to invest heavily through several programs and projects to extend rural water supply. And as at the time we were leaving power, it was around 75.6% of rural water coverage. And I believe that is also a significant leap. And if our friends had continued, perhaps we would have made some significant improvement.
The Movement for Change, which is a relatively new political actor, is talking tough. They are seeking to end illegal mining, which has led to the destruction of water bodies nationwide. Courage Nobi is the Deputy Director of Policy.
Within 2 years, Alan Trematin promises to eliminate galamsey from Ghana.
For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Now, sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill say a nominee of President Akufo-Addo to the Supreme Court, Professor Richard Frimpong is a threat to their bill. The nominee came under intense questioning following an article he had written advocating for the property right of same-sex couples to be respected and protected. NDC MP for South Daya, the appointment committee, suggested that the nominee will likely seek to outlaw their bill if he gets to the Supreme Court, a position the nominee, Professor Richard Frimpong, strongly rejected.
I want to put it to you that as a sponsor of the bill, the Ghanaian Family Values Bill, I think it will be a danger when you get onto the bench in terms of our anti-LGBT activities.
I think I vehemently reject that view, that if I get to the Supreme Court, I'll be a danger to anything that you're talking about. As I said, I have clearly explained the subject matter that I wrote about. I have indicated the caveats that we put in it, in the paper. I have clearly indicated that if you approve me as a justice of the Supreme Court, my responsibility is to apply the laws of Ghana. And I clearly indicated to you what the law of Ghana is, or once the bill is ascended, what the law of Ghana will be. The responsibility of a judge is to apply the law, not to espouse any views through their judgment. That to me will be wrong, will be totally wrong use of the judicial role. So I think that is where I will stop.
Meanwhile, the approval of the two persons nominated by President Akufo-Addo to the Supreme Court is currently hanging in the balance after the appointment committee failed to achieve consensus. The minority are opposed to the dual citizenship of Professor Richard Frimpong and have been pressing him to renounce it.
What is the motivation to be a citizen of two countries? Are you not satisfied to be a Ghanaian? Why do you want to take up another citizenship of another country?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I certainly am very happy with my Ghanaian citizenship. I have no problem with that. But usually when you travel and you want very good job opportunities, preference is given to citizens. So for example, in Canada, if you want a really good job, you have to be either a citizen or a permanent resident. And to take advantage of those opportunities, to the extent that you qualify for it, I know a lot of Ghanaians who are also citizens of Canada for that purpose.
I lived abroad. I had a good job, but I didn't need to take up additional citizenship.
Do you intend to renounce your citizenship?
It's something that I've been thinking about, but it's certainly not a requirement for this job. But it's certainly something that I've been thinking about.
I find it very difficult knowing that allegiance and citizenship are the same, being equated according to the Supreme Court, to accordingly recommend you for approval. For me, that is a very difficult one, and that is why I ask you.
Does it even make sense to appoint somebody to the Supreme Court for over almost 30 years for a lifetime appointment, who is a dual citizen, should be sitting here talking about it? I think I say this to support, and every reasonable Ghanaian will be upset over this matter.
Well, this is still the Journey's Prime. We'll take a break here. I'll bring you Showbiz right after. To stay. Welcome back. Let's do Showbiz now. And Becky Bex is here. Hi, Becky. How are you?
Thank you. Good to see you on a midweek.
Uh-huh.
I miss you.
I miss you too, you know.
And my people.
It's been how many days?
Just 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah. So during this period, we've been, cooking something for you that includes the iconic Ghanaian gospel music sensation Esther Smith. She has arrived on August 12, 2024 at the Kotoka International Airport, marking the beginning of a highly anticipated musical journey. The legendary singer, known for her soulful voice and inspiring lyrics, is set to perform live in Kumasi and Accra, promising unforgettable worship experiences. She spoke to Joy News.
To introduce to you the Queen, the gospel, the best ever gospel musician, female musician Ghana has ever experienced. A woman whose songs transcends through barriers, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are Christian, whoever you are, whatever you are, you love this woman's song. If I'm not telling the truth, you know it.
I'm so excited. There is no really place like home. So I'm very happy to meet you all. God bless you.
We are very excited to see you as well. People call you the GOAT, greatest of all time. Would you agree with that?
How can I explain it? I can say all glory goes to my maker, because I cannot call myself a goat unless some people see, they say, Esther, you are a goat, but only God is a goat. Yeah.
We're all waiting for the Esther Smith live in concert this weekend and the next weekend in Kumasi. And what are your expectations? Are you excited to be back?
Very, very, very. I think when it comes to praises and worship, I used to tell people that when it comes to praises and worship, you people should take it serious, because the Bible says the wall of Jericho was not broken by prayers, but it was pulled down by praises and worship. So when it comes to praises and worship, God used it to do so many things. So I want everybody to come and worship together with me.
You know, that brings me back to something that you have done over the years. It's all about preaching the word of God and preach through gospel music. Do you think that that's what we're doing now? I mean, after sitting back for a very long time, and now that you're back, I'm sure you've seen some on social media and all these young crop of musicians that are here with us today. What do you make of the Ghanaian industry that you left behind?
All right, thank you for the question. I think the new ones also are doing very, very well. And then the old one also is still in. So I think everybody is doing well. Yes. But one thing that I want to tell people is that when it comes to gospel music, it's not show off, it's not minim. You have to be serious. Yes.
This video, I'm not sure you've seen it.
Yes, I saw it on TikTok. What they are very powerful. You see, sometimes when I see something like this, it boosts my energy, you know? Yeah. So they are very good. They did great job. Yes. With unity, yeah.
It's been a long flight, and so we're grateful that you could have this conversation with
Esther Smith right there. But there's a conversation about Afrobeats, and Buju is saying that, Buju Banton, you know Buju Banton, yeah, he's saying that the Afrobeats music or genre is not uplifting. It's just, you know, there's no message in there. We're just, you know, doing fast food music, saying that we're promoting Africa. Here is a response by Fuso DG responding to Buju on why he thinks that what Buju is saying is not right. So the conversation continues on myjoyonline.com. That's where you find all the news, the Afrobeats conversation. Yeah. Will still continue, right?
Well,
you don't have it
obviously
right now.
it will continue.
You don't even have time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It will continue off the stage. You and I will do our own discussion. Well, as she said, there's more on myjoyonline.com. But remember to brush your teeth tonight before you go to bed. And when you wake up tomorrow morning with Pepsodent, remember, it is so because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. Well, thank you for being a part of us. Journey's Prime is up next with Pius Kojobaka. Good evening.